This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Thursday, the new Friday, May 26th, and today's pod is the best one yet.
TBOY.
TBOY, what's going on, Jack?
Remember last week, Nick, we went live on Instagram?
And just look at the footage. It did not go terribly wrong.
It didn't go terribly wrong.
It didn't go terribly wrong. That's our standard.
So we're going to do it again. Episode 2 is this Friday.
Yeah, 3 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. Pacific.
Follow at TBoyPod on Instagram. Ask us any question you want.
In the meantime, we're going to whip up some takeaways for you. Jack, first story, what do we got?
Abercrombie & Fitch is enjoying a sales resurgence with millennial adults.
Yeah, it takes just one spark to ignite a nostalgia fire.
For our second story, Amazon's newest plan is pulling a trick from Airbnb.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing.
And our third and final story, the wildest story of the week, Glencore mining.
Here's a preview. Glencore had rooms just to hold cash for bribes.
They had a cash room equipped with duffel bags.
It's like an ATM, but it's a room.
But before we hit that wonderful mix, Nick.
Wonderful mix, even though we're ambiguously in different places and no one has any idea where we are.
It's almost a 3-day weekend.
It's almost a 3-day weekend. So, hey, besties and yetis, you may be heading to your very first summer wedding.
I am. That's where I am. I'm on Strong Island.
There we go. Strong Island wedding. It's going to be a good one.
If you're at a wedding this weekend, you might see this.
Get this. Black wedding dresses.
The black wedding dress is in.
The black wedding dress is literally the new black.
Our buddies over at CNN did some Google search research.
Yeah, they searched the search.
Black wedding dresses is being searched for more than white wedding dresses are.
Brides-to-be are blacking out.
Forget the little black dress. Go for the big back out.
Jack, what's going on over at Poshmark?
Okay, at Poshmark, black wedding gown sales are up 30% compared to last year.
Jack, what's going on at other wedding dress websites?
1 out of 10 wedding gowns sold for this summer is a black wedding dress.
Some brides just want to mix things up after the pandemic.
Others have seen celebrities on like the Met Gala or saying I do in all black.
Yeah, others probably just want to rebel against wedding tradition like a wedding William Wallace.
Here comes the bride, all dressed in goth.
Billy Idol is going to have to rewrite his famous song, Jack.
It's a nice day for a black chiffon lace wedding.
So besties, yetis, if you are at a wedding this long weekend
and the bride struts down the aisle in pitch black,
then this couple is way cooler than both of us.
Yeah, they are.
Let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in a dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, Abercrombie stock just had its biggest one-day plummet ever.
Abercrombie's been betting on teens.
Yeah.
But they're winning with adults.
Jack, pour out your first bottle of cologne for Abercrombie.
Nick.
Yeah, Jack.
Apparently you can unpop a collar.
Abercrombie stock just dropped 30% on Tuesday. Worst day ever for the moose.
Because making clothing is more expensive than ever.
Yeah, Jack, there is like a lot of fabric on those cargo shorts.
Oh, yeah, there is. And they just announced they're expecting sales to barely grow this year as you buy fewer Hollister tops.
There is literally a pocket on the pocket that's within the pocket.
It's true. I can attest to that. Now, Abercrombie is targeting teens, Gen Z, anybody under 24, anybody mid-puberty,
But
whatever.
here's the shocking thing Jack and I noticed about Abercrombie's earnings. Their top performer last quarter, it wasn't the teens.
It was adults.
Adults. Get this. Adult sales at Abercrombie just had their best quarter in a decade.
Teenage Tammy, she may not be buying as many sundresses.
No.
Middle management Maggie is.
Jack, can you share with us what the CEO said over at Abercrombie?
She said there's been a remarkable turnaround among adult-aged millennials who are doing a wardrobe refresh with Abercrombie & Fitch.
I mean, Jack, you're going back to work. Why not wear 3 layers of polo shirts and a seashell necklace? Am I right?
We don't advise it. Although, Nick, Alex did get me a few long sleeve tees from Abercrombie.
Are you going to start bringing medium-sized pastels onto the pod? Is that what we're expecting now?
1896.
It's like, is that a corporate logo? No, it's a moose. It's a moose.
So Abercrombie's doing TikTok ads. They're doing the influencer partnerships. They're doing the billboards with the men with the abs. to get present-day kids to buy their clothing.
But the top driver is present-day adults, not the teens.
Present-day adults who used to shop at Abercrombie when they were teens.
So, Jack, what is the takeaway for our buddies who are just too cool for takeaways over at Abercrombie?
Nostalgia is like a tinderbox. It just needs a spark.
Besties, Yetis, the real driver of Abercrombie's adult sales resurgence, it's Netflix.
Netflix's documentary last quarter called White Hot, it was all about Abercrombie & Fitch's success in the 2000s and their controversial CEO.
Yeah, it was about the boom times of Abercrombie when Jack and I would go into aisle 6, and the next thing you know, you'd spent 3 days in aisle 6.
It was dark. It was like a creepy club with half-naked frosted tips dudes everywhere.
It was messed up that they were promoting all that, but it did define an era for teens back then.
Nick, there's a whole generation that wanted to be Abercrombie cool.
Yeah, well, that was millennials. So this Netflix doc is a reminder of Abercrombie's relevance to millennials, as creepy as some of that might be in hindsight.
Nostalgia is driving Abercrombie's one bright spot right now, and it's with millennials.
And it only took one spark. For our second story, Amazon is pulling a move from Airbnb. They are renting out their extra warehouse.
And that's not a good thing.
No.
That's a red flag.
Okay. Jack, let's set the scene here. Let's set the scene. You just bought some movie posters. You
The
said
Godfather.
goodbye to your parents. Right.
Sure.
Maybe a Bed Bath & Beyond run. And then you went off to college.
Then you come home at Thanksgiving break and some rando dude is bunking in your bedroom.
You're like, who are you? He's like, hey, I'm Frank. Your parents are cool. They always fill the fridge. You're like, who are you, Frank?
You realize mom and dad Airbnb'd out your beloved childhood bedroom.
To Frank.
It wasn't being used, so your parents monetized it.
Yeah, your parents, they said, hey, we're going to turn a lost llama into a profit puppy. Honestly, kind of makes sense.
Well, guess what? Amazon is pulling the same move as your parents. Amazon is Airbnb-ing its extra warehouses.
Yeah, and not to Frank, but to like Frank Inc.
During the pandemic, you went turbo mode on Amazon Pantry.
I remember, Jack, you and I, we both had like a Armageddon preparatory sized amount of peanut butter in the suitcase.
It was my panic box.
It was Skippy, and then you had the Jiffy for like the final reserves in case things got bad with the Skippy.
So you bought like 17 packs of toilet paper. And to match that, Amazon needed warehouse space.
Well, get this. To match that demand, Amazon doubled its warehouse space over just 2 years.
Amazon built twice as many of those enormous Amazon boxes you see on the side of the highway.
Those stores that are not stores, they're fulfillment centers, and they're just packing boxes.
But then last month, Amazon had their first quarterly loss in 7 years because of a major slowdown in your online spending.
Well, that leads to the news today. Amazon is reportedly subleasing out 10 million square feet of its warehouses.
America's biggest online retailers pulling the same move as your parents.
Yeah, Jack, or as Amazon put it,
we're going to relieve financial obligations of our existing buildings that no longer meet our needs.
Jack's in my translation. We got too many warehouses. Let's Airbnb it.
And remember, reviews are super important, so we'd love if you leave us 5 stars.
Yeah. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Amazon with apparently too much space?
This isn't innovation. This is a recession red flag.
Yeah, it is. A key with a recession, it's wishing you'd recognized it before it happened.
So Nick and I are looking for some leading indicators, an early sign of something to come in the economy.
Earlier this week, Jack and I were telling you about Snapchat stock, which a lot of investors think could be an early sign of a potential recession.
Snapchat announced they expect fewer ads, which means advertisers expect customers to spend less.
And that's why Snap plummeted 40%. But this Amazon news that it has extra bedroom space, that may also be a recession red flag too.
If Amazon has unused warehouses, that's not good news. I mean, it means consumers must be spending less.
So Amazon subleasing out its extra space, that's not something innovative.
It could be a leading indicator.
It could be a recession red flag. And now word about our sponsor, Robinhood.
We see ads all the time.
All over the place, $10 off this $5 promo code for that, Jack. You can buy 3 suits, you can get 1 free.
But something we always thought was cool about Robinhood, the free stock promo.
Yeah, this was wild. The promo isn't like some X amount of dollars. It's 1 stock.
If you signed up for Robinhood, they'd thank you with a single share in a publicly traded company on the house.
And that free stock promo, it actually helped drive Robinhood's growth and got new users in the stock market right away.
One of the most creative moves in promotional history.
So when Robinhood became our sponsor, naturally, Jack and I said, we got to do the free stock giveaway.
If you're not on Robinhood yet and you want to get started, go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and get cash to select your free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Certain limitations apply. All investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or the podcast.
For our third and final story, Glencore just pled guilty to shockingly detailed bribery crimes at a level we've never seen.
Glencore had bribe rooms.
Bribe rooms.
Bribe
Rooms for bribing.
rooms.
Bribe rooms.
And investors don't seem to mind.
Not living rooms, bribe rooms.
We all saw in Zoolander when Derek Zoolander, mining is a dirty business.
I've got the black lung, Pop.
Tried 20 years, then talk to me. But Glencore Mining doesn't have a filthy larynx. They have a filthy conscience right now.
Glencore, $87 billion publicly traded mining giant based in Switzerland. It's worth like 12 lifts.
The white-collar jobs are based in Switzerland, Nick, but the miners work in 35 different countries where Glencore has mines.
Literally mining rocks.
They're exploding parts of the earth to grab the little chunks of earth that come out.
And you know, over at Glencore, they're pretty proud of this. Their slogan, Jack?
We have the raw materials that the world needs.
Cuts right to it. But according to the U.S. Department of Justice, they have those raw materials because they bribed people for them.
Here's the news. Glencore just pled guilty to that bribing, and we have never seen a corporate guilty plea like this.
Besties, here's the situation. Glencore's offices, you take the elevator, you go up, maybe you make a right, and you're going to see this at their London and Bear office locations.
There were rooms at their offices with one purpose: cash.
That's it.
Holding cash to be used in bribes.
We're talking duffel bags and all filled with bills.
The duffel bags probably had dollar symbols on the outside of them.
We repeat, not a room filled with like printers and scanners, a room filled with cash.
Glencore had bribe rooms.
I'm checking Architectural Digest, Jack. I'm not seeing that in here.
These are facts that Glencore just pled guilty to in investigations from the United States, United Kingdom, and Brazil.
And here's how it used those bribe rooms of cash. For example, they gave one guy, let's call him Frank too, $27 million in cash.
And then they told Frank to go bribe the governments of Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and Equatorial Guinea.
And those cash bribes let Glencore enter those countries and mine their resources.
And then turn a profit worth 3 times more than the cash bribe payment they made.
We repeat, the ROB, the return on bribe, was 3x for Glencore.
That's just one of many specific examples in this guilty plea.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Glencore and their bribe rooms?
Glencore's business model depended on bribery. And guess what? Investors were okay with it.
Yetis, you want proof that investors are okay with it? Just look at Glencore stock. Jack, where is Glencore stock?
Glencore stock just hit an all-time high the same week of this unbelievably egregious guilty plea.
After all the dirty deeds we just told you, their publicly traded stock has never been better.
The DOJ said in the press release, bribery was built into the corporate culture, and Glencore pled guilty to that charge.
Honestly, it seems like this is pretty common in mining.
If you want to mine somewhere, Nick, and that country's run by corrupt government officials, you're probably going to have to bribe to get access to those resources.
Yeah, like in the past, how the CIA discovered that Glencore had done business with Saddam Hussein because he had oil.
Glencore did business with Saddam Hussein.
Apparently, bribery is the cost of doing business over at Glencore, and it just paid $1.5 billion for that.
But investors apparently see more profit opportunity than they see corruption.
Jack, can you and that pink long sleeve cargo polo whip up the takeaways for us over there?
Abercrombie & Fitch has never sold more to adults than right now.
It's millennial nostalgia, and it only takes one spark to light.
For our second story, Amazon oversplurged on warehouses, so it's Airbnb some of them out.
That's not innovation. That's a recession red flag.
Our third and final story is Glencore. They just pled guilty to having bribe rooms.
Yeah, bribery. It seems to be so common in mining that mining investors just don't care that much. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one DM'd in from Bradley Carrion and his girlfriend Maya from lovely Potrero Hill, San Francisco.
Is this your John Hancock or is this someone else's John Hancock?
Am I Nick? And are you Jack? Can you prove that you're Jack over there, Jack?
Yeti's identity verification is one of the greatest challenges online today.
But here's the thing. Identity verification, it actually goes back in history, not just your iPhone, like scanning your face.
It goes way back to 3100 BC.
Get this, the earliest relic that we know of using words and symbols to validate an identity is a Sumerian clay tablet from 5,000 years ago.
On that tablet, Nick, were marks.
Yeah.
From someone named Gar Ama.
And that means that Gar Ama has the oldest human autograph verifying the author in recorded history.
It's Herbie Hancock, by the way.
Besties, Yetis, you look fantastic today, and we'd love to see you this Friday at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern Standard Time.
Episode 2. We hope to do this weekly unless things go terribly wrong.
So far, not terribly wrong.
Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
If you know, we hope you know. And before we go, congratulations to Toby, a Yeti listening in the shower right now, who just got a new job in Kennebunkport, Maine.
And we're kind of jealous of Philip Nicholas, who's moving to Puerto Rico for a new job. Congratulations.
In the meantime, Jack, Joseph Ladamda is graduating in the Bay Area.
Congrats to Ingrid Diaz, who's graduating in New York City.
And Brady Sullivan, happy birthday in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Happy birthday to Jordan Carpenter in Tucson, Arizona.
And Christian, who's got a birthday doing logistics in Lawrenceville.
Happy 58th to Kathy Sarlson in Ambler, Pennsylvania.
And Brady Shepard is turning 7 with his toy electric truck in Walpole, Massachusetts, just outside Boston.
And to anyone else who's celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon and Netflix, and Nick and I both own stock of Airbnb and Robinhood.
And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
The first time we swiped up to buy a stock on Robinhood, whoa.
Yeah, Jack, you get like that like little vibration. Boom, you've done a trade.
It wasn't just an incredible app. Robinhood added incredible resources too.
It started with the Help Center. Everyone has that.
Then came Robinhood Snacks, digestible financial news.
Then came the newsfeed, providing free third-party news from trusted sources.
And then came Robinhood Learn, a huge trove of articles explaining what the heck an ETF is.
Yeah, spoiler, it's like a stock smoothie. Jack and I actually wrote the article on that one.
If you're not on Robinhood yet, want to get started, go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and choose a free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Certain limitations apply. All investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. And by the way, Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or the podcast. On that tablet, there are marks. There's a scribe of someone named Gar Ama.
That was great delivery at the end. Hit it again. Hit it again.
On that tablet were marks, were scribes of someone named.
No, he is the scribe. He is the scribe.